Welcome to the Queen City of Ohio. Cincinnati, the site of the next 3 games for the Sox as they file into Great American Ballpark to see interleague play tonight. Game 1 of 3 between the Sox and the Reds this season. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. If you've never been to Cincinnati, just ask Adam Engel where to go. He's from Loveland, Ohio to the northeast of here, and he's hit the ball very well recently.
He was a revelation in that series in Texas. He went 5 for 10, hit the ball well just about each and every time up, and played usually good defense. Been waiting for him to start turning on the ball, and he's been doing just that. He made solid contact. He pulled the ball, took it back up the middle, and did just about everything right. So if you factor in his defense, he becomes a very valuable player if he keeps on hitting the ball like he can, and like we saw in Texas.
Well, you look at this Reds lineup, and you've got Joey Votto, who certainly is a name. He's been to the All-Star game, but there are some surprising producers in this order.
There's a couple of guys that you might not know their names, but these are the guys that have done it all year for them, and we'll take a look at Eugenio Suarez. Came over from the Tigers, and this guy can really hit the ball. He was a shortstop with the Tigers, but they moved him to third base where he's thrived, and he keeps on scalding the baseball. When you take a look at the numbers, they just jump out at you. 61 RBI. That's tied for first in the National League. And Scooter Gennett, who came over as a waiver claim from Milwaukee, and he's done nothing but pound the baseball. He's got 54 runs batted in. That's second on the ball club. His batting average is outstanding at .332. He leads the National League. So these guys can swing the bat. The offense is not a problem. The pitching has been, but as far as scoring runs, they can do that.
That's a guy that they're going to face that's a veteran for the Sox. He goes deep into games, James Shields.
James Shields has been throwing the ball well if you don't look at the one-loss record, because the rest of his year has been very good. Last time out against Minnesota, he did throw it well, didn't give up anything in 7 innings. Luis Castillo has great stuff, but when he starts to get pressed, sometimes he folds the tent. His ERA up close to 6. You see the rest of the numbers, 85 strikeouts and 87 2/3. The stuff is good. He's a fastball changeup pitcher, and we'll see that tonight.
Sox effort to level this road trip at 2 after a 1-2 turn in Arlington. But yesterday, a big number on the board, 10 runs. See if the offense came here from the Lone Star State after this.
Brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Nice day for a boat ride here in Cincinnati as the Sox and Reds get together for game number 1 of a 3-game series. Interleague play. Sox were on the road in interleague last against the Cubs and the Cardinals in May. And we'll see Cincinnati up through the middle of the week on Wednesday. Great number of Sox fans have joined us here at Great American Ballpark, taking some pictures as the Reds take the field. Luis Castillo is the pitcher, and he will face this starting lineup for the White Sox, brought to you by the Webb Auto Group. For the best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundai's the best price. Go to webcars.com. Moncada and Sanchez up top. Adam Engel in the 8th spot. Big day for him, his return home.
The defensive setup for the Cincinnati Reds, presented by UI Health. And this is how Jim Riggleman's going to put them out there today with Winker, Hamilton, and Schebler in the outfield left to right. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, and Votto in the infield. Tucker Barnhart gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Luis Castillo. On for his 18th start. He's 5-8, 5.85 ERA. A lot of strikeouts, 85 and 87 2/3. The stuff is good. Fastball, straight change. That's pretty much it. He's got good enough stuff to be a big winner, but so far hasn't been able to do it. The umpires for the game tonight. Stu Sherwater has the plate. Eric Cooper's at first base. Gary Cederstrom is a crew chief. He's at second, and Sean Barber is at third. So on an overcast day in Cincinnati, rain around the area, but supposed to be pretty decent for the ball game. There is Jim Riggleman. He's been around a long time, managed a whole lot of teams, and he's found the secret here in Cincinnati. We're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to Jason Benetti.
Steve, thank you. Didn't have time for an adjective. First pitch was right on your heels there.
I lost the adjective.
Ball 1 to Yohan Moncada. We are off and running at Great American Ballpark. Sox and Reds only series this year as Castillo fires strike 1 to Moncada, who's 8 for his last 47 coming into today. The Cincinnati team, though, has won 9 of 10. They're now 12 games under 500, maybe playing some of their best baseball of the last couple of years.
They're stinging the baseball, and you can see very patriotic Sox. The old time look.
Joey Votto from north of the border, but representing his new country this week with the 4th of July coming up.
Joey can hit it, and occasionally some problems fielding it.
Strike 3 on Moncada. As some powder popped off the glove off that pitch from Castillo, who, as you said, mostly fastball change. The slider mixes in every once and again.
He's got a good arm, and a lesser man might have been somewhat depressed. He's been traded 4 times, and that is a whopping total for a guy 25 years old. However, he chooses to believe that the teams that wanted him acquired him, and so he's in the middle of a starting rotation.
He can also believe that it's mostly the Marlins that don't want him because they've traded him away twice. So, you know, he's found a home here in Cincinnati as of last January.
Originally signed by the Giants. That was back in 2011. And yep, he's here with the Reds now, and he's found a home.
Last year, it was short time, 15 starts, but he was really good. A 3.12 ERA, 32 walks, 98 strikeouts.
Well, that stuff is good enough to strike out a whole lot of people.
Left-hand side, long run, and that falls in for a base hit. Sanchez is into second base. Suarez couldn't get there. Yolmer with a 1-out double.
That one looks exactly like the double that he hit in Texas. Same spot, same part of the bat, which is the end of the bat, and Yolmer in scoring position. That was a changeup. He just barely waited back long enough and dropped it over the head of Suarez. No chance at all for Peraza to get that one. No chance for Winker to get that one. And we could see some adventures in left field, as Jesse Winker has had his problems out there.
Generally, this has been a pretty good defensive team, but there are a couple spots where you might be able to test. One of them is generally not the catcher spot in Tucker Barnhart.
No, he won the Gold Glove last year, and he's outstanding. I remember when he was the backup catcher here, I thought that would be a great guy to acquire because of his defensive skills. Well, this year he's hitting the baseball to go with a great glove. He's a tremendous call it, block it, catch it, and throw it guy.
One strike on Abreu, try to drive Sanchez home. And there Jose expands the zone, and that's part of the reason he had his lowest batting average month of his career in June at .212.
He was swinging at more pitches wide of the strike zone than we've ever seen him, and I think it was just a question of pressing. Now with the runners in scoring position this year, he's been awfully good at .319. But this is a guy that doesn't mind expanding his strike zone to drive in runs because he knows he is the premier run producer on this team.
0-2 is in the dirt, 1-2, and Ricky Renteria said before the game today that he felt like in Texas, especially the past 2 days or so, that Jose was looking more comfortable at the plate and swinging at better pitches for him, even though that one ball that he drove in a run on yesterday was out of the zone.
Well, that's good enough. You don't want to see your run producers necessarily taking walks, especially in back of other guys that really need to be knocked in. In key situations, you want your run producers to look out of the strike zone. Now, it's one thing to look a couple inches out of the strike zone, and another thing to look 6 to 8 inches out of the zone. Those you really can't handle very well.
Yeah, it was that ball that he flicked to center field on the sac fly to score Avi in the 7th inning. It was low and out of the zone, but a ball that he could do what he wanted with.
That went in the camera well, and that almost got one of our esteemed photographers.
All precincts are reporting that everyone's fine, so that's good news. Ball and 2 strikes. Abreu hits it in the air, short center field. And it's the second baseman, Scooter Gennett, to make the catch for out number 2.
We're in for a treat in this series because Billy Hamilton is one of the best around defensively. He can go get them alley to alley with the best in the business. Billy doesn't hit very well. That's the reason why the pitcher hits 8th in the Cincinnati lineup and Hamilton hits 9th. That being said, they've got some pretty good hitting pitchers in this lineup, and that's one of the reasons they're ahead of them also.
They have 2 pitcher grand slams this year.
It's pretty amazing, I know.
Lorenzen the other day, we showed it to you yesterday. That guy, it's a small sample size, and it's always going to be for pitchers, but his OPS is like 2,100 or something like that.
He was a two-way player.
Yeah.
And article in the paper about him today said that he has no intention of being a two-way player in the major leagues. I think it's pretty difficult to do that, and he's pretty comfortable with coming out of that bullpen.
Sanchez was quite a ways off his second base when that pitch came. 1-1 to Palka. Ball and 2 strikes.
There's a fastball at 95. He threw it right in under the hands, and normally when you go there, it sets up that good changeup away. This is just a great park to hit.
1-2, just missed the corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He moved the fastball again and a couple miles an hour more on it, but he missed with it. Even though that one was trying to shave off the inside corner, it had good movement. It was just too late to catch a corner of the plate.
There's strike 3 at 96. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Castillo. Cincinnati's offense against James Shields after this. Of Schebler, Barnhart, then Votto, Jeanette, and Suarez each over 300 in the batting average. Winker, Peraza, Castillo, the pitcher, bats 8th, and Hamilton, the speedster, 9th.
Defensive setup for our Sox, brought to you by UI Health. This is how Ricky Renteria is going to put them out there tonight. It's Daniel, Adam, and Abasayo left to right in the outfield, with Sanchez, Anderson, Moncada, and Abreu in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher is James Shields, coming off a win. He's 3-9 this year. His ERA is sinking. It's 4.29. As you can see, the control's been pretty good. He's given up less hits than innings pitched, and he usually takes the game deep, which is a good trick in this park, which is a hitter's park, and you've got a team that is 3rd in the National League offensively.
First pitch hit well by Schebler, and that is out of here.
Scott Schebler has some big power, and he ran into that first ball fastball and drilled it. Good hitting park or none. This one goes out anyway, and that's 1 pitch and 1-0. Our Ford home run replay. This is a no-doubter. That ball was thigh high and gone.
Next pitch, Hunting. Barnhart to left field. And Daniel Palka's first opportunity there in the majors for out number 1.
Home run number 11 by Schebler. He's now driven in 33. And James is around the plate a lot, so he's going to give up home runs.
Well, Cincinnati has been a better offense in terms of on-base percentage than slugging this year. They're at the top of the bottom 3rd in the league in home runs, but boy, will they take their walks. They have the most walks in Major League Baseball. So look, you have the meeting with Don Cooper and Omar Narvaez and James Shields, and on the list of things to think about in this series is the on-base percentage, the fact that it's a patient group. They swing at the first 2 and send one of them out.
Well, this guy is one of the most patient of the patient. 64 walks this year. There's no doubt that Votto's going to walk in the neighborhood of 100 times and still hit 300. He chokes up on the bat, and he is a contact hitter.
Time now for Lowe's whole team together, and that's the subject, is the on-base percentage of Joey Votto, the Cincinnati Reds. 337 as a group, 8 points behind the Cubs for first place in baseball. And by the way, they do not deploy the no odor fireworks here at Great American Ballpark.
No, it does smell like a rifle range, actually.
Sure does. 3-1. And Votto takes a called strike. He started to walk to first. He has to return. "34 years old, Joey Votto, who's played at least 150 games a bundle of times. He's played 162 twice in his Cincinnati career.
He's walked more than strike out, and that for a hitter is a trademark of a guy that, number one, understands the strike zone, number two, short enough swing to put the bat on the ball.
He's third in baseball in walks to Mike Trout and Bryce Harper. As he goes after strike three, nicely done by Shields to echo the pitch that he got on 3-1. And 2 down as we show you what James Shields threw last time out in his previous start against the Twins. Again, he likes to mix everything in.
Well, it's over 50% fastballs. The cutter really is a bit of a fastball, although James turns it into a slider on occasion. There you see the sinker and the curve. They're well down there as far as use is concerned. That's last time out.
2 down, Scooter Gennett, who has had a mighty fine season for Cincinnati. Pardon me, I get choked up about his year.
Yeah, and the city itself. I know that chili is getting to you.
Ohio's just so nice, Steve.
It is that.
That ball's hit well to right field on a line to the wall and off the wall. Hit so hard he's only got a single out of it.
Turned out to be one of the best waiver claims around is Scooter Gennett. Milwaukee decided at a very young age they were going to put him on waivers, and in doing so the Reds made maybe their best waiver claim in a long time in Gennett. This looked like a cutter down, and Gennett fortunately hits a sinking line drive, and that one, before it could get out of the park, hit the wall. Nice play by Avi as he doesn't get trapped too close to the wall, plays the carom, and with a good strong arm makes sure Gennett stays at first base.
Well, the offense has not been the problem for Cincinnati this year. That's the strong suit of this team. The ERA is really the issue at 4.66.
Well, Suarez is another one of those guys that they got in a trade. Alfredo Simon going the way of the Tigers, and Jim Leyland just recently said that he was one of the guys that was not in favor of the trade of Suarez. He was a shortstop at the time. Cincinnati has moved him to third base, where he's thrived. He's an excellent third baseman these days, and he can swing it.
Slugging percentage is 4th in the National League.
What you have to love about the guy is he's a tireless worker. He comes out, takes ground balls each and every day. You don't see that very much, especially with a guy that's a star, and Suarez is one of those. But he works hard, and he will hit the ball out of the ballpark, and he's one of those guys that will go out of the strike zone, understanding that he is one of the run producers on this team.
Ball and 2 strikes on Suarez. Winker to follow, then Peraza, then the pitcher's spot, batting 8th. One, 2. James drops down and misses. 2-2. 6 times James Shields has made it through 7 innings this year in his starts with the Sox. Gennett at first, and the 2-2 nearly hits him. 3 balls, 2 strikes. James Shields has been the inning gobbler this year for the Sox. It's 6 1/3 his average start this season.
We consider the other guys are very young. James leading the way leading by example. They called him Grandpa. And they look to him for leadership, and he's given them that this year.
3-2. Pitches inside for ball 4. Suarez takes the walk. 2 on with 2 out for Winker.
Winker's another one of those guys that will expand his strike zone, but sometimes to his detriment. He swings at a lot of face-high fastballs. That goes against the strength of James Shields, but could very well be he'll go to the weakness of Winker as opposed to his strength.
That on-base percentage is up at 383 from the 270 average because he's walked 41 times this year.
Only Fanning 40 times, so that's pretty good. More walks and strikeouts. You don't see it very much.
Ball number 1 on Winker. Shift is on for the left-handed batter for Cincinnati. Anderson to the right of second base. They play him slightly the opposite way in the outfield. And James misses again. 2 balls, no strikes.
Tried a couple of changeups the first 2 pitch and could not get him near the zone.
Jeanette at second, Suarez at first. That's outside. 3 balls and no strikes with Peraza on deck.
Very good chance that they would give Winker the 3-0 green light.
Called a strike. That was fortunate.
I can understand not swinging at that even if you had the green light. It was off the plate.
(3-1). That's inside, ball 4. Second walk of the inning. It came out swinging at the first 2 pitches and now back-to-back walks. For Jose Peraza, who was involved in that 3-team deal that ended up with Todd Frazier in Chicago before the 2016 season. (22 pitches already in the inning for Shields. Called strike on the corner. This still could be just a 1-run inning after the leadoff homer. Fly out, strikeout, then single walk has gotten us here with the pitcher coming next. A 1. Well, Peraza is not a massive power bat, but he does have 14 doubles for the year, a couple of triples as well. As you saw, Jeanette, Suarez, and Winker awaiting Peraza, who does have a grand slam. Everybody does on this Cincinnati team. This should do it. Moncada has out number 3, and the Reds only get 1 off the Shields in the first.
later in tonight's game.
And we'd like to welcome all our viewers watching on Cascade Communications in Cascade, Iowa, right between Dubuque and Cedar Rapids. Lovely Iowa. As we tell you what you're going to see on our telecast today, some monthly winners in the minors for June. A defensive gem in Toronto, another brilliant play from Kevin Pillar, and a big day for a Southside hitman in White Sox history. Nearly 10 driven in for not you, Steve Stone. Steve pointed to himself.
Was that me on that team?
Might have been a big day for you. I don't know. You had pancakes in the morning, I have to assume.
No, it was not the pancakes, but it was July 2nd. I can remember it now, just as if it was yesterday.
It was 41 years ago.
Well, almost yesterday.
The lost decade is coming back to him, folks. Avi Garcia goes after strike 2. Castillo with 2 strikeouts in the first inning, and contrasting the Sox to Cincinnati, the Sox are last in Major League Baseball in walks this year. It's been a free swinging team, as Peraza at short gets this play low, but there for out number 1. It's going to be an interesting trade deadline for Cincinnati, because you have a team that is in rebuild mode but is playing some of its best baseball this year, certainly, and maybe in the last 2 years.
Well, there's a couple of situations that will come into play. Number one, with Joey Votto, a 10-5 year man, he gets to decide if he wants to go, and he's shown no inclination to leave Cincinnati. So the fact is, his contract stretches way down the road, and that would be an inviting man to trade, but because he has the okay, I don't think he's going to okay it, so you can take him off the board. They certainly don't want to trade Suarez. Jeanette, who's arbitration eligible, is a really good player, but if they believe that in a couple of years they're going to lose him, they might think about that. I'm thinking he's one of the guys that you want to build around.
Two strikes. Scooter Jeanette has been one of those guys that, as you said, you could form a team around. But Votto over at first base, we mentioned that he was somebody who grew up in Canada, but a couple of months ago he was asked about that, and he said, quote, "I don't care almost at all about Canadian baseball." So there you go.
I think he just likes Cincinnati baseball and he wants to stay here. Maybe it is the chili. He's been here a long time and feels very comfortable. So there he is.
At first base for out number 2. He didn't exactly mean that he doesn't care about Canada. He was very clear about that. He loves the country that he grew up in, but it's not like he needs to be in Toronto to make himself whole as a player.
No, I think number 1, going to the artificial surface probably is not ideal at his age, and number 2, again, he's going to stay here. And with Cincinnati, their prospects are low down in the minor leagues. They don't have a whole lot of guys that are close.
Well, there's something too, if you're a veteran and you're comfortable somewhere and you have the ability to stay there because of those 10-5 rights, why wouldn't you?
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Oh wow, that's 3 straight days.
I know, it's frightening.
1-1 for Tim, who has really been pounding the baseball. He's 14 for his last 35 at the plate. One and 2 on Tim. 6 multi-hit games in his last 9 for Anderson, and that's why the average is at 400. Luis Castillo looks like last year's version. 5 in a row since the double from Sanchez.
for the next White Sox authentic fan of the game, someone who's with the team through thick and thin and never misses a game. Do you have what it takes? If you do, enter at NBCSportsChicago.com/White Sox AF.
This is the time to show that you are a true fan.
This is it. Through thick and thin.
Hashtag authentic fan. On Authentic Fan Nights, we'll show your tweets, and you may be the next authentic fan.
Hasn't been a whole lot of thick recently, but if you're still watching and still coming to the ballpark, then certainly take advantage of that.
0-2. It's outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, if you join in during the good times, though, everybody's going to know you did. If in the tough times you're there and you're in the seats and you have pictures of yourself there and you have pictures of your friends there, 1 down on the strikeout, everybody knows you were there even when it was tough, and that's the definition of fandom.
That's it.
Yeah. Not that it's easy.
No, not easy at all. And for Billy Hamilton, you always have to watch the bunt, although they brought Joe Morgan down to spring training specifically to work with him on bunting. Joe is an advisor to the vice president and the general manager, and it didn't work very well.
Popped up. Sanchez is there for out number 2. Join us July 11th for Game Changers, Latinos in Sports Business, presented by Modelo and St. Xavier University. This event features photo ops with Sox great Jose Contreras, insights from sports industry professionals, and networking opportunities. Tickets include the pregame panel, upper terrace suite tickets, food, and Sox swag. Two down for Schebler, who's provided the only scoring in this game with a first pitch home run as the first Cincinnati batter tonight.
He came over from the Dodgers.
The 26th round pick. Turned out pretty well his career, at least so far with Cincinnati.
Only had 36 at bats with the Dodgers before coming here to the Reds, parts of 2 seasons with them, and this year established himself as a guy that can play just about every day.
First pitch of the game, he did this.
Just a rocket. Deep out of the ballpark and a no doubter. Then James, after a rocky first, limited to just that run. So even though he used a lot of pitches, he still got himself out of tough situations.
2 walks, 2 hits in the inning, and the 1 run only. So that's the good news from the first. Though James has struggled with command tonight more than we've seen him in recent days.
Yeah, lately he's been throwing a lot of strikes. Tonight he's having some problems fighting his release point. But you would think that it would come to him.
Line to first, and Jose Abreu with a snow cone on a hot day. Still 1-0. Tiger or a Chicago White Sox. He has 100 to 200 family members here at the ballpark. A lot of Adam Engel shirts there, and for the first time in his career, Adam plays in front of his hometown crowd at the ballpark he grew up visiting.
That's pretty exciting. And he's hoping to do something like he did in Texas, where he was stinging the ball.
He said before the game that one of the things he's trying to do, just thinking about this game coming up on the horizon, was to not let it be different than the normal game for him emotionally. But that's got to be tough. I mean, this is the park you grew up visiting when you were 6 and 7 and eating ice cream out of helmets.
And sweating with the oldies.
Here's strike 3, ball in the dirt. And that is out number 1. James Shields coming up, and one thing with Ricky first. How do you get pitchers ready to hit for a series like this?
Well, they've been hitting in the cages at home and on the field. Actually, James was out there hitting with us the other day. They do everything they can to prepare. I mean, again, trying to get some reps in the cages, and just before we got here, some of those guys were out on the field taking some swings as well.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, usually a couple days in advance, pitchers start hitting in the cage.
A little easier for James because he was in the National League and he has swung the bat. Also, he's a very good athlete, so as far as swinging the bat's concerned, he's going to have no problem. The problem is in making contact against a guy throwing 95 to 97 miles an hour. And as a career hitter, look, 164 is not bad.
It's 23 for 140.
That's a lot of at bats.
Yeah. He's also walked 3 times.
Well, selective.
Into left field, James Shields with a base hit.
He reached down, looked like he got either a low slider or some other off-speed pitch, and James with a line drive base hit.
Nicky was making fun of whatever that signal he did when he got to first.
Well, that was the slider, and it didn't do much sliding, but it wound up in left field.
Adam Engel has the 2-hand, 2-finger gesture. Yolmer Sanchez has the Mickey Mouse ears. James just kind of threw his arm up in the air and moved it around a little bit. He doesn't know what to do when he's at first.
He's not going to have too many more opportunities to do that.
James now has at least 1 hit every year he's swung the bat since 2012. And they want to bring the universal DH to the game. Look at that guy, a magician, wanding the ball to left.
Joey Votto's not holding him close, so maybe James is thinking about trying to steal a bag.
Well, he's steal ready right there. Definitely in position.
Yeah, it looks to me like he's on point, certainly.
All right. Guess I got to look the part. Ball's hit well left center field. Hamilton driven back, and Billy Hamilton can really track him down.
You got to try somebody else in that outfield, because in the alleys here, Hamilton's going to get to it and he's going to make the play. That's why he's so valuable to this team. It's not swinging the bat at all. It's not even stealing bases, but it's chasing down mistakes in the alleys.
Two down for Sanchez as the sun starts to appear. That's good.
Very good news.
There was some rain a couple hours before the game. Some thunder came rumbling through. And that should do it for the top of the third. Shields gets a hit. Number 24 for his career. James to left and to first with a mini celebration of some kind.
By Coors Light, at Chicago's favorite sports trivia show, where the fans are put to the test for a chance to take home some cash. Play along Sunday at 7 on NBC Sports Chicago.
What kind of money is better than beer money?
Lots of money. Or lots of beer money.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh, that was a Miami of Ohio Redhawks shirt, your arch rivals.
Oh, I know. They were one of them. Just everyone was our arch rival because they kept on beating us at Kent State.
Barnhart to right field. Avi is there into the wall to make the catch for out number 1. Tucker Barnhart's double parked. He's seen 2 pitches to 2 fly ball outs.
He hit that ball awfully hard, and Avi went back and made the catch right in front of the wall.
Avi doesn't look like he's exactly 100% after that connection with the wall, but you see the tape on his ear.
Yes. Is that a tragic ear injury?
No, it's a new piercing. As Polka and left parks for out number 2. It's a new piercing for Avi, and rather than have to take the earring out, your left ear, Avi, spin around please. Rather than have to take the piercing out, he just tapes it up in order to play in the game.
There you go. I'll bear that in mind next time.
It never works when you talk to players and ask them to turn a little bit so everybody at home can see something.
And it did that time.
Surprising.
Yeah.
2 down for Scooter Jeanette. That is Ryan Joseph. Jeanette, who takes ball number 1.
He showed some signs last year of the power that was coming to him, and seems like year after year he keeps getting a whole lot better. He is the epitome of a baseball player.
He's also pretty good all around. 2.9 WAR, the highest among Reds position players for Cincinnati, according to the Fangraphs version of that stat. The all-around stat that shows you offense and defense combined and value.
Well, here's a guy that was born and raised here in Cincinnati. Started his career with Milwaukee. and actually did very well at 324 one year and 200 plus at bats. Hit 289 the next year in 440 at bats. Yet Milwaukee decided to put him on waivers. You know, he never hit below 264 for them and draws a walk here to extend the inning. But you would think after 4 shots with Milwaukee, none of which where he hit any lower than 263, they would have kept him around. Especially in 16, he had 14 home runs, drove in 56, hit 263. As you look at Jim Riggleman.
Yeah, there were signs that he could be a productive player, but you know how it goes when you've got to have somebody when there's a need on your 40-man roster. You've got to clear that spot. You hope that he doesn't get picked up, and it just happened that it's a team in their division.
And also, it could very well be one of the reasons they picked him up was he's a native of Cincinnati, and they've had over the years a lot of guys that were raised here, a lot of guys that played amateur baseball here. They've always had great programs in Cincinnati. And so last year, first full year with the Reds, hit 27 home runs, drove in 97. Not much of a stolen base threat, however.
Ken Griffey Jr. pops into mind late in his career.
And a few generations before that, Don Zimmer had just a great career in professional baseball. Everything you would care to mention, he did. He was from here. Jim Fry, another guy that was from here. David Justice, Barry Larkin, they were all from Cincinnati. They've had a lot of great players. Pete Rose is from here.
Barry Larkin, who was going to play some football at Michigan and decided to turn to baseball.
Michigan had quite an infield at the time. Hal Morris was at first. Chris Sabo was in that infield with Barry Larkin. That's 3 pretty good infielders out of the 4 that usually play the infield.
That is true. Chris Sabo, by the way, you just brought up, huh?
Yes. Buds McKenzie.
That may not be the last time we hear about Chris Sabo tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a foreshadowing?
It is. It might even be. It's so good it might be 5 shadowing.
That's really good. And it was unsolicited. I had no idea that he would play a part in the broadcast other than that.
Last I saw Chris Sabo, he was coaching down at IMG Academy in Florida. Bat goes flying, so does the ball. The bat was not caught. The ball is. And that's all for inning number 3. Broadway and Pete Rose. Charlie Hustle. 1-zip. And in June, the minor league players of the month for the Sox, Joel Booker, who came up from Winston-Salem during that month with a .369 combined average, 12 doubles. Don Roach with a .98 in 5 starts for AAA Charlotte.
I would say they're not intimidating Don Roach in AAA. He's done really well. Players of the month of June.
I was looking at the numbers yesterday, and Lincoln Hensman, who's in High A now, had a very nice June as well. The former Louisville Cardinal, who's converted from closer to starter for the Sox, which is a rare turn.
It is that. It takes a while to stretch that arm out after going as hard as you can for 3, 4, or 5 hitters in a closing role. Then all of a sudden you're facing the lineup 3 times. Hopefully you are facing the lineup 3 times.
Two and one on Jose, who popped out to second in the first. Sox with 2 hits the first time through the order.
Let's hope the second time through they fare a little better against Castillo, who's thrown a few more sliders this time out. He does have a very lively fastball, however. Kind of slinging it from the side, so he gets some late movement. But the book on Castillo is he will be sailing along. No problems whatsoever, and all of a sudden a little pressure put on him in the 5th or the 6th inning, and then he has some difficulties. And of course the Sox are hoping that that scouting report holds true.
Up high for the strikeout. 5th punch out for Castillo through 3 1/3. Well, Brian Price was here, and he was the pitching guy, the manager, replaced by Jim Riggleman on an interim basis here in Cincinnati. And in recent weeks, the Reds are playing very strong baseball. Had the sweep of the Cubs here, and another team the Sox are seeing at the wrong time.
Well, it's going to be really hard to take down Jim Riggleman if this team, and they're not going to be this hot, because if they stay this hot, then they'll win the division, and we know they're not going to do that. But under Riggs, they've turned everything around. They're playing very solid baseball.
They're only 12.5 back, and I know there are teams to jump over, but if you keep winning at this clip in any way, shape, or form, you're going to announce yourself as a possible contender next year. A number of national writers have penned stories saying that Jim Riggleman should be the manager in the future here for Cincinnati. He's done it well in the past, the interim thing, the bench coach to manager thing.
Yeah, he's also done a whole lot of managing with San Diego for 3 years, then with the Cubs for a long stretch for 5 years, then Seattle, then Washington for 3 years. So here again, getting an opportunity, and a lot of guys don't get that opportunity twice. Most guys don't even get it once, but having gotten it once, most guys don't get it twice, and Riggs has gotten it now 5 times.
Hit hard to right field, and it stays up, but Schebler can't make the play, so Polka is on with 1 out in the 4th.
He really crushed that one, and Schebler had the play made, and then I don't know if he lost it, but he turned, and as he turned, the ball went out of the glove. I mean, this is hit right at him. Takes a couple of steps in and then turns around and just misses it. So it could very well be that he lost it. That's the only thing that makes sense. And on a low line drive, you can lose it in the lights. Not played particularly well.
Off the bat at 107.5 for Polka. And here, see if the Sox can unravel Castillo with 1 on and 1 out. Avi a hit in 11 straight. That dates back to pre-injury. Vaulted high into the sky in center field, and Billy Hamilton. We're out number 2. Hey, Sox fans, be sure to come watch the White Sox take on the Blue Jays Saturday, July 28th, 6:10 p.m. All fans are invited to stay for a spectacular postgame fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. Get your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
The one guy you don't want to run on in this outfield, and there is only one, and that's Hamilton in center field. Billy Hamilton has not only a strong arm but an accurate arm. And Daniel started to tag up on a moderate fly ball and then thought better of it, and wisely so. Let's take a look at this throw and you'll see why you do not want to run on Billy Hamilton. Right on the money and with a whole lot on it.
Yeah, there's velocity and there's accuracy, and when you have both, that's a stop sign.
And you pretty much stay put.
Wide of first and foul, 0-2.
Omar really expanded his zone. That ball came closer to him than probably he would have liked, almost hitting it out of self-defense.
Our lottery pitchcast agrees. Downstairs, a ball and 2 strikes. The fastball for Castillo is down a little bit this year, about 2 miles an hour on average, but the difference between fastball and changeup is still about 9.
The optimum is right around 11, but you'll take 9. That's pretty good.
Opposite way, base hit for Omar. Polk at second base.
Suarez was well off the line and couldn't get to this one. This is a fastball tailing away, and Omar went right that way with it. So he continues hitting the ball well, taking that batting average up into the 250s.
Two on, 2 out, Tim Anderson, who struck out on 4 pitches in the second. Line foul wide of third, and that's going to take a while for somebody to clean up.
That was one of those sliders that did not do a whole lot, and when Castillo gets in difficulty, it is with what they call the cement mixer slider. Looks like it has a slider spin, only it doesn't break. And that's the one usually hit very hard down the line.
13 sliders out of 58 pitches.
It's amazing he's really relied on that.
To third, Suarez does get the out at second base to retire the side. Sox leave 2, and it's 1-0 Cincinnati. Presented by Guaranteed Rate, your trusted teammate throughout the mortgage process. Experience the difference today at rate.com. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. This is Great American Ballpark. And those are Sox fans making the trip. It's a quarter of a day trip. Not bad at all by car. To see the Sox and Reds in 3 games this week. James Shields gave up a leadoff home run in the first, and now Jesse Winker, who walked the first time, takes ball 1. Sox will be in Houston for 4 to conclude this road trip. An Astros team that's only a half game up on Seattle starting play today. Former 49th overall pick Jesse Winker. He was actually taken 1 slot after the Sox picked in that draft. It was Keon Barnum that went to the Sox, then Winker to the Reds. Line drive right field, and Avi with a stagger step gets there for out number 1. Here's your Sox math question for tonight. Hashtag Sox math. First correct answer wins a prize from the road. Games in this series multiplied by Avi hits yesterday, plus the number of bases those hits accounted for, minus the jersey number Chris Sabo wore with the Sox.
Who could have seen that coming?
Only everybody who's watched the entire show.
Chris Sabo.
Some great rec specs. You called him Spuds McKenzie?
Looked a little like that at times in his career. But he could play. He was a good player, good hitter.
Yeah, some of those Reds teams in the 90s could really hit. '90 championship team.
That was Lou Piniella going wire to wire.
Sweepsville in the World Series.
Yeah, it was really quite a team. That was the Nasty Boys in the bullpen.
To right and foul.
And the Nasty Boys were, I mean, Norm Charlton was one, Randall Kirk Myers another, and Rob Dibble. And there is the Reds since 1990. They won the World Series. That was good, but that was the last time they did. And you look at the rest, not so good recently.
Yeah, big drought between 95 and 2010, as there's the banner from 90. Billy Hatcher coaching for Cincinnati, member of that 90 team. There's Billy. Storied baseball history here. The first team to ever charter a plane to get to a game.
And the first team to have lights at Old Crosley Field.
One and two. Slugged in the air left center field and playable for Cincinnati's own Adam Engel, out number 2.
Crosby hit that ball well, but plenty of time for Adam to streak back and make the play. Two really good center fielders on their respective teams here tonight. Team Engel in attendance.
Couple hundred. Got to scrounge up some tickets for that.
Can't be easy.
Used to have to go and ask everybody for their comps. Hey, can I use yours? Can I use yours?
And now the comps have gone the way of the dodo bird.
That's true.
Yep.
How'd that work out for the dodo?
Not well. I haven't seen one recently.
You just haven't been looking hard enough. Pitcher's spot up in the 8th position, Castillo. And a nice play by a fan down there.
And James, who had a very rough first inning, not in runs scored, only the one, but He loaded the bases, a couple of walks, a base hit, but got out of it on a pop-up by Peraza, and he's had no trouble since.
Foul ground first base side, and don't be fooled though by these light foul balls from Castillo. They can swing the toothpick from the pitcher's spot. Anthony DeSclafani and Michael Lorenzen both with grand slams this year. DeSclafani and Lorenzen a week apart. They have 9 grand slams as a team. That's a franchise record tying number already, and it's July the 2nd.
It's pretty amazing.
Don't load the bases in this series. That's one of your keys.
Don't load the bases and don't throw to a pitcher if you do. Lorenzen, by the way, out of the pen exclusively, a 1.93 ERA. So that's good. But 6.67 batting average as a pitcher. That's real good.
That'll do it for inning number 4. 1-zip. Back in 1977, Jim Spencer drove in 8 in those beautiful uniforms. That's your guy, Jim Spencer.
It is, and he could really play defense as well as occasionally drive in 8. Terrorizing the Twins.
We got more angles here than a geometry textbook tonight.
Got
Couple
a bunch
hundred.
of those and some snacks being brought.
Let's tell you about your Sox math winner. To a round of applause from the little one. And number of games in this series is 3. 4 hits for Avi. That's 12 plus 8 bases. 20 minus Sabo's 17. The answer is 3. Mike Ganella was in second. Jay Reeses was truly the winner. But we're going to give Mike Ganella the victory because Joe's going to win at some point the remainder of the series. And he won yesterday. So sorry about it, Joe. Sox fans taking it in from the bleacher seats here at Great American Ballpark. And a good pitchers duel going on. Engel first up, swings through strike 1, and there's Team Engel wearing the 15. Adam from the Cincinnati area, and he had this date circled in April and maybe before that.
What he didn't have circled and didn't expect was a cornucopia of sliders from Castillo. That's all he's seen, and he hasn't made contact with him.
Again, Castillo for the year has thrown the slider less than 15% of the time, and he's featured it significantly more than the changeup tonight.
Been a good pitch for him.
Peraza at shortstop. Does get Engel under the wire for out number 1.
Adam hustling down the line, and Peraza having to hurry, but getting it there a step ahead of time.
One down for Big Bat James.
Going to keep his perfect night alive.
We asked him in Texas for the scout on Bartolo Colon because he was 2 for 2 against Colon. That being the same game when Colon homered off of him, but James can swing it. We saw it in the 3rd with a base hit to left.
I wouldn't think he'd see another slider. I think he'd just see fastballs.
He's talking to himself. To 3rd. Suarez has some time.
He shattered James's bat. Probably thinking I didn't really need a fastball in on my hands, but he got it there.
He made it about 2/5 of the way down the first base line.
Couldn't do much with it. He figured he wasn't going to beat that out, so he decided to just take his time to first, and justifiably so.
Throw him a chainsaw inside.
That was a good fastball inside after 1 away.
2 out for Moncada.
The one hit the ball hard last time up, chasing Hamilton back, but not quite enough to clear 404.
Yoan 0 for 4 yesterday. He had a hit to lead off game 2 in Texas, his only hit in the series. And there he sees the off-speed stuff from Castillo. 1 and 2 on Moncada. Outside, soft catch by Barnhart, didn't get the call.
He's just a really good receiver behind the plate. I mean, it's very impressive how he handles these pitchers. He's one of the catchers, and in this day and age, a catcher that puts his defense first is rare.
That ball's hammered to right field and down next to the line. Schebler bidding for second and way off the mark. Moncada has a 2-out double.
Double number 17 this year. Keeps the inning alive, and we'll watch it again. That's a changeup. It's out away from Yoan. He stays right with it. And then, knowing that he's going away from the throw, decides he's going to put the pressure on Schebler in the outfield, who doesn't have a great arm. And so he runs it into a 2-base hit.
th extra base hit for Moncada this year. 17 doubles, 3 triples, 10 home runs. One ball, no strikes. There was initially a threat of rain during the game tonight, but that seems to have subsided as the sun has shown up.
I think we're going to be okay.
Two and 0.
Kind of surprised that Winker is as deep as he is in left field, but as long as he's back there, there's plenty of room to drop it in front of him.
You mean like Yolmer did in the first?
Exactly like he did in the first, over and toward the line.
Two balls and a strike on Sanchez, who's been much better from the left-hand side this year than the right-hand side. He and Moncada both favor the left-hand side. In the air left field. Maybe Winker was onto something. That's all she wrote, and we are halfway home in the opener in Cincinnati, and the Reds lead by 1. Off of when it happens.
No, it's very difficult, and there's been an inordinate amount of serious injuries this year to young players.
LeBron evidently has created one more Laker fan in one night.
He did that.
It's good to see the people of Cleveland taking it better this time.
Well, I think that they got their championship, which is something LeBron promised when he came back, and they figure LeBron wants to win, and I think he feels better suited for the Lakers than the Cavs this year. Cavs, by the way, dropped to 500 to 1 to win the championship when the decision was announced to go to the Lakers by LeBron.
That's a precipitous fall.
Yes, it is.
We've told you this year that the World Cup is big in Major League clubhouses, certainly because of the international flavor of the game. But a lot of the chatter after the game yesterday in Texas was about where LeBron was going to go. And then as news trickled through, that was the buzz after the trip last night among the Sox players. A lot of NBA fans in the Sox clubhouse. One and two. Swing and a miss for strike 3. He can run. He chooses too late, and Hamilton is out. Xfinity X1 customers say, show me the Chicago White Sox. Hit your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. Schebler, who homered on the first pitch he saw in the first inning. I think you're going to agree with this statement.
Oh, especially if you preface it like that. Okay, I disagree. What was it?
Baseball in Cincinnati is just not the same without Shotzi the dog roaming the field.
Well, at the time, you have to bear in mind it was the artificial surface, which played well with an animal roaming around occasionally and experiencing all that Cincinnati chili and all.
I figured you might have an opinion on that.
Yeah, it was interesting. I do like St. Bernard's.
Lined over first, right field side. Abreu couldn't get it on the leap, and Schebler books it for second.
Been up 3 times, and he's hit the ball hard 3 times. But getting his opportunity out of the Dodger organization, he is stinging the baseball. He's got that batting average in the low 280s as he takes it just over the glove of Jose Abreu. This was a changeup away, and Jose can't get to it.
One on, one out for Barnhart.
He's seen 2 pitches and 2 at bats. Maybe he'll be a little more selective.
Let's see. Yep, takes ball 1.
James settled that for him by throwing that soft breaking ball well out of the zone.
That's a strike. Low portion of the zone. 1-1. Tucker Barnhart, the second guy that we've seen in the past couple of weeks from Brownsburg High School in Indiana. Talked about Lance Lynn, a Brownsburg alum, when we saw the Twins. Lance did not fare terribly well in his most recent start.
No, he didn't.
Launched to left field in Daniel Polka's position. He's there for out number 2. Schebler does not run, and Joey Votto the batter. Well, you got Votto and Jeanette back to back with Suarez following, so it's not as though Votto's unprotected, so you kind of have to pitch to him.
Well, this will be interesting to see if he will expand his strike zone to try to drive home that one run. Normally he doesn't. Normally he will take the walk, and does take the walk.
Very distinct routine with the bat.
Yes, he does, and chokes up a good 2.5 inches on it.
Six times he's led the league in on-base percentage.
Pretty impressive. He will draw a whole lot of walks.
He's hit Shields well in his career, 4 for 8. Only a couple guys in this lineup have seen Shields for more than 2 at bats. And Votto's one of them.
With runners in scoring position, he's been awfully good. It's hard to get a fastball by him inside. He's fairly close to the plate, and he's up on the bat. He normally has a very short and quick stroke, and one year he went an entire season without popping the ball up, which is somewhat remarkable.
It's insane is what it is. No real reason to feed him a cookie here on 3-0.
I'd throw him an off-speed pitch. See if you can get him out in front of one, and maybe he'll feel enticed to swing.
He does swing and foul it away. 3-1. 4th of July uniforms for the Sox in the series. The 4th coming up on Wednesday with a night game on Getaway Day at Cincinnati. Be in Houston for 4 after that. That ball is crushed to right field. Avi is there to turn around and make the play. Every now and then you get a little bit terrified. Turn around, Avi.
That ball was hooking, and Avi overran it, but came back, and James Shields, a very happy man.
How about it? Nice play. From Schebler to start off the game for Cincinnati. Shields versus Castillo has been a dandy.
Let's take a look at the high-speed action powered by Xfinity. Joey Votto crushes it. It's hooking, and Avi overruns it briefly, reaches back, makes the catch, and a very happy starting pitcher greets him. Keeps the game at 1-0.
Oh, Jose ricochets it off his foot. That's happened enough this year to Jose, especially.
Yeah, he did that in Texas, and it didn't feel any better than it feels now. So Ricky and Herm are going to come out there and take a look at this. This was right off the ankle.
It was a toe last time.
Yes, it was, but even the long pants don't cushion it too much.
Well, this is very likely the first base starter for the American League in the All-Star game. The new voting is out again today, and Jose Abreu well clear of Yuli Gurriel, but keep voting because Abreu needs to hold off Yuli for that spot. Voting does end on Thursday, and you can vote online 5 times each day via the online All-Star ballot on MLB.com. Ricky and Hermie go back to the dugout, and Jose still feeling the effects.
Now, if you had a bad disposition as a pitcher, you throw another one low and in.
Are you saying something about Mr. Castillo's personality?
No, all you want to do is you want to make sure that that leg is entirely healthy. See if he reacts to it.
So it's a positive. You're giving him an opportunity.
Yes.
To third, Suarez. Steve Stone, the land of opportunity to my right. One down. Head to the ballpark. $1 hot dog Wednesdays. Take advantage of this unbeatable deal. Wednesday, July 11th. Sox of the Cardinals, 7:10 p.m. Brought to you by Securian Financial, who can help you make every moment count. Find out more at Securian.com.
$1 hot dogs. One of my favorite days.
It was just hot dog night at the ballpark for me tonight.
Yes, you had, but you had some coating on it.
Yeah, the cheese, the Skyline chili cheese.
Well, you had cheese and the chili. Yeah, that's good. Good luck tonight.
To some, evidently in Chicago, it's an unpopular opinion to enjoy Skyline, but there it is.
No, I mean, I think it's great, and you don't see orange hot dogs very often.
To be honest, I did not see the hot dog. You take a bite and it's just cheese. You never look at the hot dog. Got some great foodstuffs at this ballpark, which we will explore in total. And Jose taking a little rest after fouling that ball off his ankle.
Daniel's hoping for one of those fastballs, belt high or lower. If he doesn't get it, it's not going to be a successful at bat. Hermie taping the ankle.
And Palka does get a small piece of that. There's the tape job.
Hermie, the best tape man in the business.
Yeah, cut me, Hermie.
That's it.
2-2. Up high. 3-2. Herm Schneider has been a busy guy this year.
Too busy for his liking. I've talked with him about it. He hasn't seen the likes of this in quite some time.
Luis Castillo has fanned 6 tonight.
Given up 4 hits. And the most impressive about his performance is that he hasn't walked anybody. So he's navigated around a couple of doubles and a couple of singles, and you throw in 1 error in right field and that's been it.
Two out for Avi, who had 4 hits yesterday, part of that 11-game hit streak. Avi 1 hit shy of his career high of 5 from last September against the Tigers. Oh, and 2 4-hit games. There have been a few. Abreu with 2 of them, Palka with 1, Engel with 1 against the Orioles, and Avi with that most recent one. Oh, 2. Boy, the ball really ricochets off that sidewall into the field of play, forcing quite the sprint for the ball girl here at Great American Ballpark. Into left. Avi goes down to scoop it out of the dirt for a 2-out single, and the hit streak advances to 12.
That was back-to-back off-speed pitches, and normally you don't like to see that unless it's a really good one. That's the change-up breaking ball. It had, we talked about that slider spin that doesn't do much. This one was down, stayed down, and Avi, because it didn't break, was able to get the head of the bat on it. So he keeps the inning alive.
Narvaez the batter. He had a base hit last time up. Omar 17 for his last 37. Strike 1. Well, in the bottom of the 6th, we'll see how Jose's moving around after fouling that ball off his ankle. Omar couldn't pull the trigger. Nice pitch. 0-2.
I like this defense on the part of the Reds in that Votto is not holding Avi close at first. He is playing behind him, giving him a better angle if Omar pulls the ball his way. So many teams just automatically hold the man close at first, opening up that right side to the ground ball that way.
Why do you think that is? Just because it's habit?
I think so. Yeah, I do. And there's certain guys that are not going to run. You might as well play off the bag, and that's in any situation, not just with 2 outs. I mean, you might as well do it with 1 out, nobody out, especially when you take a look at the guy and his stolen base, either his percentage or the fact is, you know, might try to steal a base 2 or 3 times a year.
Hamilton in center for out number 3. Chili 5-way, chili 3-way, chili on your hot dog, chili 4-way, chili. Oh, we got to go to break.
Reflects on Loyola's run to the Final Four. MLB wives battle it out on the field for a good cause, and one authentic fan went from Mount Everest to the mound. Check it out Saturday at noon on NBC Sports Chicago.
I'm going to watch. That was a great tease.
Unbelievable.
Well done.
Thank you.
You just ad-libbed that.
I did. A couple. Some were written, some were pre-prepared.
Best kind of ad-lib. Scooter Gennett takes a strike. So we mentioned his name is Ryan Joseph Gennett. He was 4 or 5 years old, and he was having difficulty staying in his car seat. He would unbuckle his car seat and get out of it, and that's, of course, unsafe. So his mom said, look, you keep doing that, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to take you to the police station. And
that's an interesting threat.
Yeah, right.
To a 4 or 5-year-old.
He kept doing it. And she took him to the police station and brought him in and told them the story.
How long did he spend in jail?
First the 0-2. The police officer said, okay, son, what's your name? And because he didn't want to get in trouble as Ryan Gennett, he said Scooter. He was a big fan of the TV show Muppet Babies. So he picked one of the characters on Muppet Babies, Scooter, and gave that name. And from then on, he was Scooter. And he was going to scoot back to the bench. Shields takes care of him. 1 down.
So he wanted to remain anonymous.
That's right. I think it's a smart move by a little 5-year-old
Not
Scooter.
wanting to have a record quite that early in his development. I can understand
Yeah,
that.
they're going to have trouble finding it in the file cabinet if it's under the wrong name. 1 down for Suarez. Here's a strike. Suarez, one of the best third basemen in Major League Baseball, according to wins above replacement at 2.5. He is currently 6th, tied with Matt Carpenter, according to Fangraphs WAR. Jose Ramirez, 5.5, leading the pack.
That's absolutely amazing.
To third, Sanchez, great reaction. He turns and guns and has out number 2.
Yolmer can just play. He is a baseball player. Doesn't matter where you put him. It doesn't matter what the situation. It doesn't matter which side of the plate he swings from. He rises to the occasion. That makes good, strong plays. This is a tough play to the backhand, and he keeps it out of left field.
Two down for Winker. By the way, for Jose Ramirez, earlier today, somebody had tweeted a story saying now that LeBron is gone from Cleveland, it's up to the Browns to pick up the slack. As Abreu makes the catch for out number 3, which means more LeBron after the break, but not that much. To the 2018 All-Star Game helped send Jose Abreu to Washington, D.C. this summer. Voting ends July 5th. That's coming up in a couple days. So vote right now. WhiteSox.com/vote to submit your ballot. He was involved in the inning ender.
And he kind of limped after this play, putting a little pressure on that foot. So hopefully he's going to be okay. He does and has played injured quite a bit in his career. He never wants to come out. And if he does, it won't be a good sign, because if he comes out, then he really is hurt.
To shortstop and Peraza.
Pen is up and going just in case. Garrett and Hughes. Hughes, the right-hander on the left. Garrett, the left-hander on the right.
Hughes is a tall dude.
Pitchers are getting bigger.
How tall were they when you pitched on average?
Oh, 5'3", 5'4".
That's what I figured.
I was one of the giants of the game at the time.
Only because San Francisco selected you.
Yes, worn to a nub now. Low these many years later.
Angle takes ball 1. Adam looking for his first hit in what was his home ballpark through his teenage years before heading off to Louisville to play collegiate baseball for Dan McDonald down there.
He would love to see something other than a slider, because he hasn't had much luck with those. I think that Jim Riggleman is going to stay with Castillo until the first sign of trouble. I think he's gotten exactly what he needed from him. He's got the game into the 7th, and he's got a pretty good back end of the bullpen.
Adam to left field, and the Angle cheering section roars.
That one was a hanging slider, and that's what Castillo has a tendency to do a little later in the game. So that represents a tying run. This ball stayed inside, wound up in left field. and he's at first base. And the reaction of Team Engel, they are ecstatic.
Couple hundred people here supporting Adam Engel. That is a really neat thing tonight. Now the pitcher spot up, and Shields stabs down a bunt. That gets Engel over. Shields remains in the game with only 78 pitches, and it's up to Moncada to drive in the run.
Question for Jim Riggleman is, does he want to turn Moncada around to the right side? And apparently he's going to do that. And you would think, looking at the splits, that this would be the prudent move. He's gotten a whole lot out of Castillo, the tying run at second base. Yoan coming off a double in the 5th inning from the left side. So we'll see on a flip-flop lineup exactly what happens.
Yeah, pitcher spot is coming up second in the bottom of the 7th, so you wonder if it's going to be a double switch of some sort from Riggleman.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. Otherwise, you just wouldn't go out and meet with the umpire. And so that's it for Castillo. And as he walks out, we'll step out. We'll be back. He won't. Time now for a Lakeside Bank call to the pen. Lakeside Bank, it's about time. And Garrett, a lanky left-hander, on for the 39th time. 0-1 record, but a fine 2.76 ERA. 49 strikeouts and 42 1/3. He won't have the lefty-lefty advantage as Yoan Moncada will turn around to hit from the right side.
Fastball slider is what you get from Garrett. Fastball at 95, slider at 83 from the former basketball player at St. John's. Engel at second. Moncada swings through it, and Adam is back into second base. So Garrett, formerly a member of St. John's basketball team, harkens back to those days when he finds his way onto the field. Little jump shot and off to the mound.
Whatever works. So far it's working well for him this year.
Line to left field. And down. Fair ball, game tire. Yoan Moncada drives in Engel.
Second double in as many at bats. This one from the right side where Yoan has struggled this year, but not so this time. RBI number 35. And it's a brand new game. Tied at 1. This one stays fair by a wide margin and rolls around for a while.
So that run charged to Castillo, who goes 6 2/3, gives up 6 hits, struck out 6. But he will not be the winning pitcher tonight. 1-1 to Sanchez. So Engel with the 1-out single shields the bunt. And Moncada drives in Engel. Matt Davidson has a bat, and he's going to hit for Abreu, it seems. So Jose, who walked down the tunnel after he came out after catching that line out, looks like he's going to leave this game.
There was a break on that pitch. Looked like it had the outside corner, and Sue Sherwater said no. So there's a look at Matt Davidson, who had a fine series in Arlington, Texas.
Two one. That drifts inside. 3 balls and a strike. Jim Riggleman decided to make the change. The Sox have made it sting so far. Fair ball down the line. Should give the Sox the lead. Moncada races home, and Yomer does the trick. 2-1. 7th inning lead for the Sox.
Yomer with his second hit of the night, driving home his 37th run. So the top 2 with 4 hits, both runs driven in. And Garrett has come in to a couple of base hits and surrendered the lead. This one right down the line. Suarez could knock it down, but that's all he could do. A lot of overspin on that one as it hit off the glove, and as it rattled around, Yoan Moncada with great speed. He scores easily. And here comes Jim Riggleman. Apparently that is going to be it for Garrett. So the jump shot didn't work very well.
No, it clanged off the side of the rim, Steve. Evidently Todd Coffey's coming in.
Yes, and he got here in a hurry. So as he streaks in, we will step out and be back after these messages. Is another big pitcher. Jared Hughes on for the 38th time. He's 2-2, a sparkling ERA of 1.24.
2 days shy of his birthday. He was born on the 4th of July.
How about that? Independence Day baby.
But he has never been a Yankee. Just a Pirate, Brewer, and Red. Matt Davidson bats for Jose Abreu, and we were watching Jose as he walked down the tunnel, and he did not want to come out of this game.
No, in fact, as he was walking, he talked to Ricky and said, look, I guess I'd like to stay in. And Ricky said, no, you go.
Joe McEwing said the same thing. We were watching him during the break, and he basically said, hey, you gotta go.
Go and get some ice on it, elevate it, and there's another game tomorrow.
And the next day.
Yes, sir. And he's got to have that ready for the All-Star game.
Oh, 1 is fouled back by Matt. 2-hit day yesterday. He knocked in 3. 5 hits the last 2 days. 3 hits, I should say, yesterday. So that makes the 6 for 9. Never disagree with Dave Ross's calculations. He is always right.
Yes.
0-2 on Matt, who was 6 for 9 the last 2 in Texas. Had a single in the 7th, a double in the 5th, and a single in the 9th yesterday, and a double homer and single on Saturday nights. He was the one that sent Bartolo Colon packing on Saturday with that home run just right of center field.
Bradley Hughes is going into the sleeper mode. Yolmer has swiped 8 bases, been caught only twice. So he's trying to vary his times.
Another throw to first on Sanchez. Another game when the opponent got to James Shields in the first inning and did not a whole lot after that.
No, he was really good tonight again.
Sanchez goes. Throw is not in time. So the Sox do run against the combination of Hughes and Barnhart and get success out of it.
9 times successfully for Yolmer. And Barnhart knows he didn't get much of a shot, as Hughes was slow to the plate, and even with a good throw, he couldn't get him.
Here's a guy who routinely posts 40% caught stealing and above numbers. One and 2 for Davidson. Foul of third. Yolmer with the very patriotic kicks. Red, white, and blue look. Stars on one. Stripes on the other.
Ooh, stereo stripes on the other. Very good.
Ball and 2 strikes. And Matt couldn't check it up. Hughes does get the strikeout, but the Sox snare the lead. Engel started it, a 1-out single in front of his cheering section. Bunted over by Shields. Moncada plays wall ball to left on a hop, scoring Engel. Then Sanchez down the line, a tracer for a 2-1 Sox lead. Pinch hit in the top of the inning, so he plays defense over at first in the bottom of the 7th. And it'll be Peraza, Duvall, and Hamilton coming up for Cincinnati against Shields, who's still under 80 pitches tonight. Six of his last 9 starts have gone at least 7 for James Shields.
That's one of the most impressive parts of his performance this year, was going deep into the game just about each and every time. Very warm, very humid night here tonight.
Flared to right field. Garcia for out number 1. Join us Saturday, July 14th. Sox take on the Royals, 1:10 p.m. It's a 1993 reunion featuring Ozzie and Bo and Tim Raines and more. First 20,000 fans get a commemorative 93 authentic fan pennant presented by NBC Sports Chicago. Get your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. And the watercolors used beautifully by the Skymakers tonight.
Gorgeous sunset. Adam Duvall with his first at bat of the night came into the flip-flop batting order and singles to left.
You got play-by-play in your future. 1 on, 1 out.
No, in my past.
So Billy Hamilton coming up. Shields allows just hit number 4 in the game to Cincinnati.
Billy showed bunt last time before striking out. And Don Cooper, you got to watch that phone. It'll jump away from you on occasion. Calling the pen. Pen? Hit somebody up.
So we're so used to mobile phones now. When phones have cords, we drop them.
It's true.
On the ground, Davidson spins it to second, 1, and that's all the Sox will get. Hamilton is the last guy you're going to turn 2 on that play.
Yeah, I think Tim Anderson, not all that familiar with Billy Hamilton, probably doesn't need to throw that one because you got no chance on the return. It's a slow chopper, and now Hamilton is a man that can steal a bag. 15 times this year he's been successful, 3 times he hasn't. He's also a guy that you can pick off. And the pen is up and going. It's Minaya and Avila.
There's no argument to take the out at first and get Hamilton off the base path there, right?
No.
0, not
0.
even a little bit.
Nope. You want to make sure that, especially with the move James has, and it's one of the best right-handed pickoff moves in baseball, you want to give him the opportunity to pick off Billy Hamilton. And I think he's got a shot at picking him off.
See how he goes about that. Pitch out.
A minimum of pitches so far on this warm, steamy night. And James shouldn't even give him a setup move, because with that lead Hamilton is taking, you might as well give him your best move, the first move.
There it is. He was leaning and he just got back.
He'd have had him. If the throw is there, he picks him off. As Hamilton was just starting to get into his full leadoff and actually took a step towards second. He didn't get back by much. The back of the bag and then the tag in just a little late.
That was a darn good scramble by Hamilton to get back.
Yeah, because he was hung out to dry there. And the lead isn't quite as far right now.
Another throw over.
Got the large oven mitt on the left hand. 83%, always good.
Long look at first. Pitch. And now the danger is Schebler doesn't have your full attention, and he is 2 for 3 in the game with 2 extra base hits. Official word on Jose Abreu, day-to-day bruised left ankle. He extended that lead as the pitch was coming, and Shields gets a pop-up back of home, and Omar never saw it.
Well, James acted as if he was going to quick pitch and then took something off it, and I think that disrupted the timing of Schebler. Scott did not have a good swing at a pitch that was dropped into the zone.
Two balls, one strike. Hamilton inching off of first.
Well, if he's looking for a pitch to run, this is the pitch. You're not going to see many, if any, 2-1 pitch outs. Omar looking over in the dugout to see what kind of help they're going to give him. Looks like the breaky.
Hamilton was moving back to first on the pitch, so he does not have Shields timed at all. It's 3-1. Tucker Barnhart on deck. He's 0 for 3. 3 balls and a strike to Schebler, and that is ball 4.
And James didn't think that that was the last pitch in the sequence.
Yeah, he's asking.
Well, he didn't realize on 2-0 he fouled one back, then he missed with an outside breaking ball, then missed with another one, so he's going to exit this game. And as Ricky comes out and calls to the pen, James will depart, even though he's not happy about coming out of this one. And he will come out, and we will step out and be back after these messages. With the game on the bases, Juan Minaya comes in. Tying run at second, go ahead run at first. On for the 16th time. He's 0-2. His ERA a touch over 4. But 22 strikeouts in 15 1/3. Barnhart has hit the ball well a couple of times, and James not happy about exiting this one.
James Shields is talking to Ricky Renteria about how to get Billy Hamilton at first base. That's something that Ricky certainly studies. Shields as well, and James is not happy, whether it's about Hamilton or whether it's about coming out or some combination thereof. James would always rather stay in the game.
Might have been the first pitch out. In any event, it's Barnhart and Manaea.
Barnhart 0 for 3, 3 fly ball outs, and he nearly gets clocked with pitch number 1.
You do know one thing, regardless of how it comes about, you don't want to get to Votto this inning. And there is Joey Votto. Doesn't have a hit tonight, but retired on a very good play by Avi to end the 5th inning on a ball that he just crushed.
Two balls, no strikes. Hamilton at second, Schebler at first. 3-0. Ball 4. Now the danger for both the Sox and Shields ERA is that Votto is an on-base machine with 64 walks, the 3rd most in baseball, and the bases are loaded. Renteria out of the dugout. Manaea is leaving. The Reds, who have 9 grand slams to tie a franchise record, have the bases loaded in a 1-run game. Experience to catch every moment this season. Get White Sox home screen icons and features like the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at bat today, and a 1-run game pitching change.
Our Lakeside Bank call to the pen is Luis Avila. 2-0 record, 4.44 ERA. This is 38th appearance and no margin for error. The bases loaded and one of the league's best in Joey Votto.
Votto career has an on-base plus slugging about 100 points worse against left-handers, so that's why you bring in Avilan. And this year, Votto's only hitting .227 against lefties. A very patient hitter to face Avilan, who misses with ball one. Close pitch, didn't get it.
Career with the bases loaded for Joey Votto has been particularly impressive. 355.
Down 2-0. He's just not going to get himself out.
Well, very rarely will swing at a pitch out of the zone.
Two and 0. Inside ball three. 7 pitches from the Sox bullpen so far, all out of the zone. Hamilton, Schebler, and Barnhart. The lead on the line on 3-0. Votto swings and cracks it to center field, but playable for Engel. The Reds leave him loaded on a 3-0 count. Engel finished off the bottom of the 7th in center, but he didn't have to move very much. This guy did. On Canada Day, no less. Kevin Pillar up the wall to give him something to cheer about. Castellanos says, "You got me." And he went 100 feet to make the grab. That guy can really run him down.
Then he planted his spike into that wall and went up and over the wall. It's quite a play.
Joey Votto, when we last spoke to you, was in a 3-0 count after Sox pitchers had thrown 7 straight out of the zone. He decided, and it's a veteran's prerogative certainly, to go after the 3-0 pitch. Flied out to center, and the Sox hang on to the lead. Daniel Palka. Strike one. Sox got both runs in the 7th inning. Moncada and Sanchez drove him in. And for both Moncada and Sanchez, whose dominant sides this year have been the left-hand side, a really nice sign to see them each drive in a run against a lefty. Polka in the air, right center. Billy Hamilton. Fans experience Levy Restaurant's fine dining while enjoying a breathtaking view of Guaranteed Rate Field from the Huntington Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders and also perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties.
Meantime, James Shields threw brilliantly here tonight. 6 2/3, gave up just one lone run on 4 hits, walked 4, fanned 3, and yet another in a string of fine performances. He is the pitcher of record with a very thin 1-run lead at the moment.
You have to believe that phone calls are coming in on James Shields as we approach the trade deadline.
The team wants a guy that will keep you out of the bullpen, and you can pretty much send to the mound against any team, it doesn't matter which it is, and give you a professional job on any given night. He would be the guy.
Inside, ball and a strike.
Chris Volstead loosening in the pen.
Last we saw him, he was throwing 3 1/3 in mop-up duty in the opener in Texas. Barnhart, a little glance at Avi Garcia as he sets up inside. And the pitch is low.
Well, Avi should get a pretty good pitch to hit here, and he's been swinging it very well.
"12 straight with a hit for Avi Garcia."
That's a sinker. Usually it goes inside to the right-hander.
It's over the plate. 3 2. I think that's 2 in a row that Hughes meant to have drift inside more than they did. Sox bullpen got a bit of a rest yesterday. Jace Fry, Xavier Cedeno combined for 1 full inning. Then Soria went 1 2/3 to close out the game. But in these National League games, sometimes you use more pitchers for a shorter amount of time, so you have to get more guys up typically with the pitchers batting. Three and 2. Avi hits it in the air, right field side. Schebler back at the warning track. Avi did it again. Another home run for Garcia and a much needed piece of insurance in the 8th.
That's a 5th home run, his 11th driven in. He's had good swings tonight, and he has another one here. This sinker stayed up, and up is thigh high for a sinker baller, and it goes out of the ballpark. Very small park, 370 to the power alley, and Avi made it disappear. Our 4th home run replay.
One in, one out. Omar takes a strike, and with the Avi Garcia home run, another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula. It's nice to have the full version of Avisail Garcia in the lineup. His 2nd home run of the road trip, a 12-game hit streak.
Well, it really shows when healthy just what a force he is. I mean, you can't hit 330 in a major league season unless you're a quality hitter. Now he's showing the power that everybody felt that he had all the way along, and now that he knows the pitcher's a little bit better, we're seeing it.
376 up and out at 102 miles an hour.
Reds pen up and going. Dylan Floro.
Well, in order to edit the scoreboard here in the 8th inning, the Sox have used red pen.
It is red pen.
Or the red pen.
It is that too. In fact, the Reds pen, which at times has been pretty good, especially the back end of that pen, tonight has not been able to get the job done. Garrett gave up a couple of hits. So has Hughes given up a big hit.
You think about how quickly Major League Baseball games can pivot. The Reds had bases loaded, a 3-0 count in a 1-run game, can't score, and the Sox get one in the top of the 8th. 3-2, topped off of Omar. Sox already lost Jose Abreu with a bruised ankle in this game after fouling a ball off of his body. To left field down the line. Fair ball into the corner. Omar's got to hit number 2 of his night, and it's a double.
Moncada with a pair, Sanchez with a pair, Garcia with a pair, and now Omar with a pair of hits. And this one sliced down the line. Both of his hits coming to left field. No chance at all for Duvall. And Jim Riggleman apparently is going to flip-flop that batting order once again. Hughes will come out. Floro will come in. And as he does, we'll step out. Be back after these messages. And our Lakeside bank called to the pen. He is a right-hander, pretty good fastball. Dylan Floro out for the 24th time. His ERA a fine 2.91, the 2-2 record. Got pretty good control, but he has given up 37 hits in 34 innings, and he inherits the base runner at second base. Omar Narvaez, Tim Anderson at bat.
One down in the inning. Jared Hughes, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 1 strikeout, runs yet to be decided. Floro fires in strike 1. 2 of his last 3 games he's come in, Floro's allowed a run. He's back on June 28th against Milwaukee and June the 25th in Atlanta. Up the middle by Anderson. Omar gets a major stop sign. Hamilton chucks it in at first and third with 1 out.
The Reds did it very well. Hamilton hitting Votto right in the middle of the diamond. Jeanette going in back of Anderson to see if he strays off the bag. And making sure you don't run on Hamilton. We told you that's not anything you want to do, especially with a catcher. So Narvaez frozen right there, and Jeanette in back of Anderson. He gets back to the bag. Omar looks up, gets a stop sign from Nick Capra. And that puts runners at the corners, and only 1 out.
Well, that time Nick got to stay upright, because yesterday he had to go down to 1 knee and do the guitar shred move to try to wave in a runner. Adam Engel with a chance to fire up his cheering section in his hometown. Strike 1. So yesterday it was the full out Elvis Presley from Nick Capra, but there was a reason behind it. Watch him over at third. Avi Garcia coming home on the first one, and then he gets down to wave around the second run in full rock mode. And there was a reason behind it, because Jose Abreu, as Engel gets the bunt down, it's a fair ball, and he is out. That advances Anderson to second base. Abreu just doesn't have his head up when he runs, according to Nick Capra. And so he has to go down into Jose's line of vision, down to 1 knee, because you remember last year Jose nearly ran him over through a stop sign. So Nick Capra preserving himself and trying to get into the visual path as Charlie Tilson comes up to bat in the 9 spot, previously occupied by the pitcher. Big spot for Charlie. Trying to help put this game away. Leori Garcia, Ricky Renteria said before the game, was available to pinch hit in this game, although he did jam a finger a couple of days ago going headfirst into first base.
Talked to him last night, and he had it bandaged, so he said it didn't feel great. And that bunt actually was a safety squeeze, but it was not a good bunt. Barnhart coming out and getting it really quickly. We'll take another look at it. Runner going, and there's the bunt. And so after freezing him at third base, Barnhart, who does a really nice job, he takes a look at it and makes sure no advancement on the part of Narvaez before gunning down Engel. He wanted that bunt probably to the right side and push it by the pitcher, and didn't get it there.
Peraza does get Tilson to retire the side, but Avisail Garcia picking up a little late this year from where he left off, but picking up nonetheless. Another home run this road trip. 3-1, Sox take the lead.
help determine that by continuing to vote early and often. It's not early anymore, but vote often.
Good news that he's leading at least.
And we got a new pitcher coming in the ball game. It is Chris Volstead. On for the 27th time. ERA of 4.20. And left-handers have really hurt him.
That's who's coming up first. Scooter Gennett, then Suarez. First one, golfed foul. Scooter Gennett singled to right in the first, walked, and then disappeared a kid with that foul ball. Magical night. Third reliever of the night for the Sox, Chris Volstead. Line to right field and down for a hit. So the Reds will bring up the tying run here in the 8th. Mentioned that this is the second leg of the trip for the Sox. 3 games in Texas, 3 games here. Last night, a neat situation when the plane landed. Got off the plane and a couple of the Sox coaches, including Nick Capra and Kurt Hassler, were hugging the police officer on the detail for the plane arriving here in Cincinnati. And talking to Kurt and Nick, the officer was a former Sox minor leaguer who they both had in the farm system, named Zach Eisler, who was an 8th round pick in 2012. He went to the University of Cincinnati in college, went to high school in Kentucky, just across the border here. And the Sox didn't know until very late in the plane ride that Zach was going to be the officer assigned to the detail. So a reunion just by fortune here in Cincinnati.
I thought he was just a very friendly police officer. He was hugging everybody as he came off the plane. Oh, so happy you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't that bad a flight, actually?
No, and a great moment when we landed for Zach, who's doing very well, it seems, and spent some time in the Sox minor leagues this decade. Got up to Birmingham for 24 games in 2015, pitched once in AAA as well. A 1. This is the guy that hits the ball hardest on the Cincinnati team. His average exit velocity nearly 92 miles an hour for the year, and that's number 1 for the Reds, and that's in part why he has 16 home runs to lead the team.
Chris Volstead doesn't have to worry much about Gennett. He's only run twice the first half of the season.
Lined over third. Into the corner it goes. Gennett throttles down at third, and he was already slowed to a stop as Polka bobbled it. So Gennett only to third. Suarez the tying run at second base.
If he doesn't break it down, he's going to score. Billy Hatcher did not have the luxury of speeding him back up after he slowed down, as Daniel Polka had some problems picking it up. Suarez crushes the ball, and then it rattles around in the corner on the carom. Daniel does not pick it cleanly. We'll take another look. Gennett now decides he's going to take a look and just hold up.
Right when he tapped the brake is when the bobble happened. You can hear the crowd. So second and third, and Brandon Dixon takes ball 1. Dixon, part of that double switch that knocked Schebler out of the game. Debut season for Dixon. former third-round pick of the Dodgers in 2013. He was also part of that deal that ended with Todd Frazier in Chicago. He lays it on the corner. Volstad, nice pitch, 1-2. Infield back for the Sox, conceding the second run of the game. You would imagine it would be in if that ground ball happened after, as Omar pounces 2-2.
The Reds pen up and going. Raisel Iglesias, he's a man mentioned in a whole lot of trades to various places. He's their hard throwing closer.
Two and two. On the ground, wide of third, and into the pocket of Scooter Gennett.
Using Chris Volstad here is a product of a bullpen that's been used and abused in 3 of the last 4 games. And so when you go through a whole lot of your relievers, many times you take a guy who's used in long relief, as Chris Volstad has, meaning he'll eat up some innings, and put him in a situation of a setup man, which is something he's not been this year.
2-2. On the ground and foul to Gennett again. This time through Hatcher to become a souvenir. And Scooter is a magnet. Hey, a Sox fan gets the ball.
Yeah, and apparently not particularly happy about the souvenir.
2-2. Breaking ball fouled away.
That one was a hanger, and the fortunate part was it hung too high for Dixon.
Sox got 2 in the 7th and 1 in the 8th, countering Cincinnati's Singleton in the 1st. Schebler homered on the first pitch to the Reds tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Volstad to Dixon, and he struck him out over the top of the 93-mile-an-hour heat, and 1 gone.
That fastball, good movement, and conceding the run on a ground ball, that is a huge strikeout. She can't bear to watch.
I've seen years of that, she's saying. It's always the same thing. Volstad just clips the corner, 0-1. Well, we saw the closer, Raisel Iglesias, getting loose. He threw 18 pitches yesterday for Cincinnati after going 3 straight days without pitching. So you'd imagine he's ready to go, and so is she. Corner again. Volstad just nudging the outside edge.
The only problem with going out there again is Peraza does hit the ball to right center field.
Way outside. He wouldn't chase. 2-2. blinders. 2-2. Everybody knows somebody who can't watch at times like this. There's one in every family. Three and two. Outside, ball 4. Volstad needled around, and time to exhale, at least for the moment.
And here comes Don Cooper. And this one just misses. Omar tries to bring it back in the zone, and he says, okay, well, not as good as a hit, but as good as we can get at this point.
Guy next to her seems to have seen this before. This is Volstad's inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. Duvall coming up. There are no left-handers on the bench for Jim Riggleman.
Duvall with 1 at bat tonight. He came into the flip-flop batting order, and he got a base hit in his 1 look. Now here's the good news. He has grounded into 6 double plays this year.
That is good news. 3 grand slams. Everybody has 3 grand slams. It feels like they have 9 as a team this year, and that opportunity has presented itself quite a bit tonight. They walk so much, there are always runners on. Ball 1. Jeanette at third, Suarez at second, Peraza off the walk at first. Volstad toiling in the humidity of a Monday night in July in Cincinnati. Down. This is the situation where a taxed bullpen days ago shows itself at the checkout line in a future series. Got to pay for it sometime. 2-0. Called a strike.
That one borderline at best. It went Volstad's way.
Two-run game. 2-1. On the ground right side. The Sox will get an out. Throw home is not in time. Safe the call at first. They say Davidson did not step on the bag. It's 3-2, and there's still 1 out. I thought maybe when he pulled the trigger he did it early, and that seems to be the case.
Well, Matt was so intent on 2. And they're going to take a look at it.
Now, if he didn't step on the bag and Omar was on the plate, that should be an out at home.
Well, that's what Joe McEwing is saying. He wants to see if his foot was on the on the plate. No, he wasn't on first base at all. That's one thing. Looked like the hand got the plate, and this is clear. He does not get the force out before he delivers the ball. So we know that play at first base.
But is Omar on the plate when he catches the ball at home? The answer looks like no. Now, Ricky, you have to tell the umpires what you want to challenge, which part of the play. So that's the discussion. He says, forget about first. We want to challenge home.
Right. That's exactly what they want to take a look at. And what they want to take a look at is if his foot or his knee was on the plate, because he's clearly safe at first base. Doesn't look like that foot was on the plate.
Maybe the point of it. Let's see. You've got those green guards, the back of the shin guard for Omar with the color green, and is any part of it on the plate? That's the question.
Looked to me like the left heel was closest to the plate, but didn't get it. And
well, there was an out available, and okay.
Now it went over the plate, but right here the foot's not on the plate.
Does it come back at any point?
Nope.
Any part of his body, any
Nope,
part of the
it does not.
equipment?
Nope.
No, you're right.
It does not. And the hand did get the back of the plate, so it looks like both calls go Cincinnati's way. His foot actually went over the plate and then came off contact with the plate before Jeanette comes on, streaks across, and tags it with his left hand. He's going to be safe at the plate.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
A wild sequence. There's one out available. The Sox didn't take it. Davidson came home. And let's see what the call is. Be shocked if it was overturned. Safe.
No, he was clearly safe at the plate, and unfortunately Matt did not step on first, and so it's a one-run game. Bases remain loaded, and Billy Hamilton is coming up.
Matt got caught in between. He started to run to the bag and then decided to come home late.
I think he thought he could actually throw it while stepping on the bag, and he came up a little short on that. Well, Hamilton can bunt, and with that in mind, Yolmer is very close at third base.
First one is inside.
For Billy Hamilton, if he had that to rethink again, he would have stayed a little longer around the plate, because he just missed getting hit.
Into right center field. Angle is underneath. Suarez tags. Throw cut off. It's into third. Safe.
Yolmer thought he got Peraza. Sean Barber says no.
A wild eighth inning sequence leads to a tie right now. The inning continues, and we'll watch the back end of this.
This would have been interesting to see if the run would have scored before the out at third base. Suarez was hustling. He got to the plate before any resolution at third, and that's a ringing endorsement for any of you young players out there. You never really know what's going to happen in back of you. You have to hustle, and he clearly got to the plate ahead of the tag at third base.
Because the Sox used their replay challenge and lost it, now it's up to the crew chief to make the decision to review. This crew does review the play at third, and we'll see if the inning continues. Yolmer wasn't demonstrative, but he looked quizzical when he came up. Initially, he thought he got him, and let's see what the video suggests in New York.
One way or the other, it's going to be a tie game, and whether the inning goes on depends on this replay at third.
So Gary Cederstrom on the headset, throw into third. That's going to be close. Remember, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn. Call on the field was safe.
Sean Barber was right on the call. Now the question is with the front foot. Looks to me like the foot has the bag before the tag. The only question would have been, and Yomer didn't keep the ball on him. Had he kept it on him, he popped off the bag. I just don't think he kept the glove on him.
That's what it looks like. The Sox would certainly appreciate the overturn here. One more look on the throw from Davidson. You can't be in better position than Sean Barber was in.
No, I mean, he was right there. If he didn't get it right, it's not because he was out of position.
So long review, that may bode well for the Sox.
Or it's one of those calls that will stand because of no conclusive proof, and the one way it was called on the field will be the way it stands. We'll have to see what happens.
All right, let's see. Safe. Well, credit to this crew. Don't like it, but they got it right both times.
They did. Both times it went Cincinnati's way. The game is tied at 3. So James Shields cannot win this one.
And they're going to pinch hit with Blandino. So Alex Blandino in a huge spot for Cincinnati. Only one remaining bench player now for Jim Riggleman is the backup catcher Kurt Casale. And the rookie Blandino, former first-round pick 4 years ago out of Stanford, faces Volstad. Just a bizarre 8th inning.
Certainly was that. Pinch hitting this year, pretty good. 6 for 20. A couple of runs batted in. You just as soon go at him. You certainly don't want to go to Barnhart next.
There's a strike, 2-1. Chris Volstad trying to maneuver through a minefield. There's a strike, 2-2. Volstad to Blandino. 2-2. Line right field side to the corner and foul.
Fortunately, that ball was slicing, and it was fair for a while. Hugged the line before slicing foul.
Pitch number 6 of the sequence from Volstad. Tie ball game, 2 down, 8th inning. Line drive right field again. Avi can't get there. The Reds take the lead. Blandino, a pinch hit, bingo to right field. A double scores 2, and the Reds take the advantage.
Just missing the first time. Found a spot to land the second time, and Ricky Renteria comes on. He's going to go to the pen. That was a hanging breaking ball right in the middle of the plate. Blandino takes it down the line again, and Avi could not get to it.
The Reds have had mega opportunities, Steve, late in this game and finally cashed in.
And a tough outing for Chris Volstead, thrown into a role he hasn't used this year. And as he steps out, so will we. Trying to end the series with a blast in Cincinnati. Coverage begins on Wednesday at 5:30 with the White Sox pregame live, or you can stream the game on the NBC Sports app. Our Lakeside bank call to the pen is Hector Santiago, trying to come in and stem the tide. On for the 26th time. Many of them starts. There you look at the numbers.
It was the 27th career hit for Alex Blandino that scored the 4th and 5th runs for Cincinnati. A pinch hit opportunity, and the former first-round pick out of Stanford paid it off for Jim Riggleman and the Reds. Stirring comeback for the Sox tonight with 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, but for now not enough, although the top of the order will show its face in the 9th. Jose Abreu out of this game with a bruised ankle after fouling a ball off of his leg. He then caught a line drive for out number 3 in inning number 6 and felt a twinge of pain, and the Sox decided that discretion was the better part of valor for Abreu, so he's out of the game. Davidson in, and a key play over at first in this inning as Davidson came home, did not get the out. The Reds got a run without an out, and now Cincinnati's taken a 5-3 lead. Two-one. Huge rip.
Barnhart has been a better hitter from the right side this year, but he's had many fewer chances. Hitting .396 right-handed coming in, but only 48 at bats.
Two and two. Little inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Joey Votto May bat today, may bat tomorrow. We'll see how it goes.
There is a Cincinnati hero for tonight so far.
Three-two. Inside, ball four. Joey Votto will bat here in the 8th inning, and we mentioned Jose Abreu is out of this game with an ankle injury. So here's a foul ball off his ankle. He had one off his toe a couple of days ago in Texas. He goes to the ground, gets it taped up, and then out in the field, it's a line drive off the bat of Winker, and Abreu comes up lame on that catch.
Terrific defensive play, but it put a little strain on an already injured foot. He doesn't want to come up, but Ricky Renteria says, hey, take a look at it. And Matt Davidson came into the ball game.
Joey Votto, who had the bases loaded and a 3-0 count to end the 7th inning. A fly ball to center field was the result, but the Reds got another opportunity here in the 8th inning and put 4 in the kitty. There's strike 2. One and two on Votto. Two balls, two strikes. The Sox are going to petition to skip the 8th inning. The last 3 days, Texas and Cincinnati have combined for 14 8th inning runs.
That's not good.
So astute.
Well, it's that kind of analysis that has characterized my career to this point.
As George Carlin said, those are the thoughts that kept me out of the really good schools. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Three and 2. Strike 3. Hector takes down Votto. However, Cincinnati has made it 5-3. Sox looking to grate on the Reds fan base and put a cherry on top in the 9th.
Just like we promised, it's time for the Miller Lite Hold True moment. And it came off the bat of a pretty good pinch hitter. Blandino takes it into the corner. It's the second time in as many pitches he went to right field. This time was between the lines. And it capped off a 4-run rally as the Reds take the lead and bring in their closer.
Second straight day they've used Raisel Iglesias.
He's a man that a lot of teams are very interested in, and you can see why. 15 of 17 in saves, ERA of 2.52, on for the 34th time. 39 strikeouts and 35 2/3. And there's a lot of teams very interested in him as a setup man, not a closer.
A little bit low with ball number 1. Iglesias did cough up 2 runs yesterday against Milwaukee in that victory for Cincinnati 8-2, but he'd been away from the mound for a couple of days. He hadn't thrown since midweek, so they had to get him an inning. They did. It was a non-save situation, and those are always hairy.
And relievers will rust away, especially closers. They'll rust away before they wear away because they just don't get that many opportunities. So you got to get them an inning in non-essential situations, and more times than not, if it's a not save situation, they will give up some runs.
Strike 3. He has become a 3-pitch pitcher this year, mixing in the changeup much more. And we saw it during that at bat to Moncada.
He gets tremendous movement on all of his pitches.
One down. Sanchez takes a strike. In the dirt, 1-2. Sox trying to make one more comeback out of it here in the 9th. Game 1 of this 3-game series between the Sox and the Reds. On the ground, Iglesias off the mound has out number 2. 6:10 start time again tomorrow for game 2. Lucas Giolito against Anthony DeSclafani for Cincinnati. Two down for Davidson.
Good slider, late breaking, and it buckled Matt's knees.
It's outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Sox need 2 runs before 1 out tonight. One and 2. Rysel Iglesias with strike 3. 1-2-3 inning for the Reds closer, and the Sox fall in the opener.
Everything that happens in this game has a ripple effect, and some things that happened a few days ago affect what's going to happen in the ball game tonight. We saw it a couple of different times this evening, and it ended in a Cincinnati win. They've been playing good, solid baseball. They came back in this, give them credit, and we're going to be right back at it tomorrow. I'll see you then.
That's the beauty of baseball, is you get to do it again tomorrow. Sox fall 5-3. Cincinnati with the comeback victory tonight as we say farewell from Great American Ballpark. For our producer Keon Dolat-Shahi, our director Todd Benjaminson, our associate producer Dave Ross, the technical manager Mark Harper, the executive producer Greg Bowman, and our entire NBC Sports crew. For Steve Stone, I'm Jason Benetti saying so long from Cincinnati. Coming up next, Subaru White Sox postgame live. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on NBC Sports.